we have kind of thought about the natural evolution of better stands in the future, that people who are wanting to look further, there is then the element of looking at their logistics. But what we find in general, though, although storage can hamper in some places, it's not so much that in the majority of cases, it's not that someone's got one stand and then they will keep it for their next show, that they use that stand. So the exhibitor has a stand and they'll do the same show 1 year later. The contractor has a reusable system, there's hundreds of different ways that might exist, that they use to build a stand for an exhibitor 1 week, but the next week they're using those exact same materials to build a different configuration for their next customer. So it's not that it's sitting in storage.
Right. So if I'm an exhibitor at a show that does this and I have a gold booth, but I reuse that booth, now I go to another show and the organizer's not doing better stands, but I am already certified as gold and I can promote the fact that my booth at that show that's not following better stands, that I in fact am gold certified. I, as an exhibitor, I get to reuse my certification, right? For each time I exhibit. It's not that if the show organizer is not following better stands, I can't follow better stands, or I can't claim that I've been certified. I, as an exhibitor, get to reuse it every single time. Yeah. So my booth has been certified. Wherever that booth goes, it's certified. Whether it's at a show in New York or a show in Las Vegas or a show in Paris or Qatar, it's certified, isn't it?
Well, your certificate is for that stand at that event. So you will receive it to say this stand that we're looking at is silver.
Right.
And even if chances are, if they are exhibiting at somewhere else in the world, they'll probably use a different local contractor when they go to Qatar. So even though it's the same exhibiting company, their stand will be different at the next event.
Okay.
And it's also, even if they were using the same contracting company between different events that they're going to, the different ecosystems of where they're going, if they've just held an event in New York versus they're having to stand there versus they're now going to UAE or something, like you mentioned before, the options to recycle that signage might be different. So we can't kind of say that it is going to be, and most people change their stands between these. Not saying that we're wanting to have everything assessed all the time, multiple times. We are the contractor working stream is working on, well, how can, if it is the same all the time, a contractor gets their product line assessed to being bronze. If you're, so that every time that contractor builds, some of them will build the same stand 100 times across different shows. If it is the same, then yes, it's certified. But it's not so much that, because it's a complicated ecosystem, I suppose, and it is, something we're all developing right now, like that ability to make sure certification goes across a whole product line is something we're developing right now. Like, we've got a working stream with some of the big names, the big contractors that we'd all be familiar with, and we're sitting down and going, okay, how do we put that bronze, silver, gold on whole product lines? What does that submission need to be, and how's that going to work? It's very much in the pipeline that we're kind of hopefully launching in the next couple of months.
So using myself as an example, a very, very, very small exhibitor, I have a 10 by 10 with a pop-up, and I pack that up. It goes in a bag, and I carry that bag on the plane with me, or I check it, obviously, and I reuse it at every show. And there is signage, but it's not dated, so I can reuse it.
Yep.
Is someone with a 10 by 10 pop-up eligible for better stands, or is it really something that's to be constructed?
No, that would definitely be eligible, and that's, from what you've briefly mentioned, that would be gold. I can't see how it wouldn't be. But yeah, they'd be gold, and they'd gain that certification. And that's what we've been doing for the past 5 years. the ability for contractors to get it themselves is only just being piloted now. And working out, well, I was literally on the call yesterday, they don't want to submit information for every single stand that they do. That's madness. Like, we need to be able to enable them to have it across the whole of their portfolio as standard, and they every time we build that one, it's a silver, or etc. But it's all now working out, well, how does that two routes now merge together and play well together, and they're both enhancing the same thing. And I felt like I was thinking about it at the time. I was like, oh yeah, we need to think that one through. So it's because we're literally just launching that second element and figuring out how they're going to really play well together.